So I received this question today from Stephen Feldman, and it reads, how does electronic music benefit from Dolby Atmos mixing, as most of the times it requires mono capabilities? Won't it sound dull or thin in a mono PA system? Now, the thing here is that what you've got to understand is your normal way of thinking about audio in stereo is totally different to Dolby Atmos. Now, in case you don't know, behind me you'll see all these speakers. This is a Dolby Atmos room, so we have 4 speakers over the top, we have 4 speakers round the back, we have 7 across the front. The 2 in the 2 left and right at the centre are our subs. We've got a 9.1.4 set up in here. Now, so the way, this is a really big question here. It's going to take quite a detailed answer. So the problem you've got is when you think about it, you're thinking, right, the normal sense of it is that my original track, how I've normally perceived it as a master, it now plays out of all these speakers. It's not, that's not the case. So Dolby Atmos, first of all, is set at -18 LUFS, right? So being at -18, you, majority of the time, you don't peak at 0 dB, so you're never clipping. There's never any limiting in that real sense of how you originally master the track, with where you bring the volume up and you'd really make it loud. That is all gone away, right? So it's not designed, Dolby Atmos master, the actual master file is not designed for the club. It doesn't go into the club. It's designed for an audiophile playback of this high quality lossless audio format that just kind of immerses you in audio, right? When you listen to it, stream it from such things as Apple Music or Tidal, I think they're on board with it. So it sounds unbelievable if done well. If done in a studio like this, it sounds amazing. Now, the main thing with this question is it's someone getting their head round, how do these speakers here translate to when I take it to a PA and it's in mono. And that, when it goes into mono, you obviously wouldn't get any of the surround. So that, you've got to think of it in a different way. So the best way to think about it is the way that electronic music benefits from Dolby Atmos is if we were to mix it in Dolby Atmos, right? We get this massive, wide, spacious, everything's separated, there's so much detail, depth, you can really kind of gauge how far things are away from you, and it sounds incredible. What we can then do is then fold this whole mix down into stereo, right? So now what we're left with is a binaural stereo file where we have left and right, and that now, when compared to a stereo mix, which is mixed in stereo, it retains all this width. It gathers all the depth, and everything that you get from working in Dolby Atmos is now summed down into 2 channels. So now when you compare it with the stereo file compared to the Dolby Atmos stereo binaural file, there is depth, there is width, there is a spaciousness about it that you just cannot achieve, and you physically cannot achieve it in stereo. I've been a stereo mixing engineer for the best part of 20 years, and I've always dreamed of achieving what I can achieve now. I wouldn't have spent all the money that I've spent on this room if I didn't know that it worked, and it is unbelievable how good it sounds. So when you compare the two, the Dolby Atmos mix binaurally folded down into stereo. So you're just comparing two stereo files playing out of a stereo speaker, so a left and right speaker. The difference is mind-blowingly different. The Dolby Atmos one has more depth, more clarity. Everything about it is so much better. It is so superior. Now, there's your benefit mixing in Dolby Atmos, is that you get this superior stereo mix that is binaural. What you can then do from there is take that stereo mix, like you would take this stereo mix, which is just the client stereo mix, or the stereo mix mixed in stereo. You take those next door into our mastering room. Now, we've mastered the original, a mix mixed in stereo and a mix mixed in Dolby Atmos. And the mix that's mixed in Dolby Atmos, binaural, split down into binaural stereo, sounds unbelievable once mastered. So what we can then do is master that stereo file. So you're getting all the benefits of Dolby Atmos. You're then summing it down into stereo, so you're keeping all the benefits there, achieving a superior sound to a stereo mix, then mastering it in the same way that you would normal stereo. So you're then getting your club sound, right? So you're then getting that big loud sound, that big compressed sound that you get from stereo mastering, but with a Dolby Atmos feel to it. So then the master comes out, and the master is so much better, it's unbelievable. So then there's no difference there between if you were to get the stereo file mixed, stereo file mastered, and the binaural stereo file mastered, which is done in Atmos. There's no difference in the end product being loud, being compressed, being perfect for the club. We then, when we're mastering in there in stereo, what we're doing is we're referencing down to mono. You always reference down to mono on club music, especially for the purpose of it's going into a club. Now, the huge benefit of doing this is that the end product is so much better when worked on and mixed in Dolby Atmos, and that is mainly because of the depth and clarity that you achieve whilst mixing in Dolby Atmos. So the actual fold down, when you play it back into a club, will sound just like the normal stereo files you would normally have mastered. So there's no difference there. The difference would come is you would never be able to play, you would never get a Dolby Atmos, what is considered a Dolby Atmos master, which comes from the DAM software, the Dolby Atmos mastering suite. That comes out as an ADM. And that's what you would distribute to iTunes or Tidal. You would never take that file into a club and play it on a club system, because it just wouldn't work. Firstly, the ADM is fully dynamic, so there's very little in the way of this loud compression. It would be ridiculously quiet in comparison to all the other songs. And it wouldn't translate. Even if it's summed down to mono, it probably wouldn't translate well into a club. So you would, if you intend to have your song, if you intend your song to be played in a club, if it's electronic music, you want it to be played in a club, you will need to still get a stereo master done. That's why we offer, as a service, we offer the Dolby Atmos and stereo in one, because we know how important it is that you get both, especially if it's a club track and people still want to release as a downloadable format in stereo. So I hope that answers your question. It's a very kind of the thing with that sort of question is there's a lot that you have to get across, because it's it's technically a whole new thought process when you come and think about Dolby Atmos. It is very much a whole new thought process, and I know because when I first started mixing Dolby Atmos, for the first few days, you really have to get your head round it, and you really have to kind of change your whole way of thinking of what music is compared. And the difference between stereo and Dolby Atmos, even when folded down to stereo, Dolby Atmos being binaural and stereo being just a normal stereo mix, it's worlds apart. It really is. It's so pleasing for us as engineers to see this move forward as the industry, and just generally, like, music mixing now is so much more fun for us, because we're not just working left, right, centre. We're working left, right, centre, front, back, up, down. We're working in a realistic space, and it is so amazing. It's an amazing place to work in here. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. If you need me to elaborate on it, let me know, because what I'll do then is I'll write an article, and I'll do some short video content on comparison files and things like that. So that would always be really helpful. Yeah, so anyone has any questions, just fire them over on the website. Links in the description to do that. Get them over to me, and I'll go through and answer these questions.